So we have a refrigerator here, Swiss Army knife. This was a Kenmore refrigerator, but this is the same as a GE and a bunch of the others. They're very similar in model. So this refrigerator is iced up down here in the corner. See all that ice, okay? 95% of the time, it is the defrost heater coil. And you see we've taken everything out of here, and more than likely, it's all iced up there. So what happens in its 24-hour cycle, it doesn't get to breathe, and there's a heating coil in there that actually heats up the freezer coil. And the freezer coil, the air runs across it with a fan that's right here, and it goes across the coils, and then it shoots across to the refrigerator. That is the port that the cold comes through. In this case, there's actually two ports. There's one on top and there's one on bottom. When I see one clogged up and one not, I take the freezer out and I look for overloaded coils with cold. If they're not overloaded, then what happens was that the freezer was probably set too low, or at some point in time it got moisture, and it ended up causing that one port, because that's the food core evaporator on the freezer side, and you can see it's not caked up. So what that tells me is that your defroster is working and the refrigerator's not as bad, but the problem is it's caked up in here, and this is the cooling for the drawers and things like that, which there may be a damper in there that's not working, electronic damper, and that's not uncommon. But I think if we free that up, it will still breathe enough to where it'll work. So I'm going to try and pour some hot water on it, or a hair dryer. This is a passive vent. It's not active. It doesn't have a damper control. It opens and closes with the humidity. So what I've done is broken out as much as I could with a hair dryer and a screwdriver. And you can put a screwdriver in there because you're not hitting any coils. And you pour hot water down this little hole here, and you can see it coming out the other side. That means you've got a clear passage. And you can hear the heating coils were actually snapping and popping, and I stuck a sponge in the drain so it wouldn't fill up the drain underneath the refrigerator. So that's the hole it's going to come out of right there that goes up into here. While you're in it, that is the number one failure, is the fan. So fan at All Appliance Pros, cheap, 50 bucks, put it in and you're good to go. If not, just button it back up. When that fan stops, it'll cake up and the defrost won't work. You can see here, I'm going to point out the defroster. That's the defroster. That's the thermal breaker in case it gets too hot. And so it will shut off when it gets hot enough, it shuts off automatically. So that is a little, almost like an oven heater. And it just heats up the oven. It heats up the coils so they don't freeze up. That's what happens when you have a defrost freezer or a frost-free freezer. Every 12 to 15 hours, that coil comes on and keeps it from icing up. I'm done with everything. I've put it all back together. And one of the things you can do is sort of a pride thing when you're finishing up is wipe down all the humidity baskets and the shelves and everything like that, because they don't get done very often. And if you're doing this for yourself, or maybe your wife, or maybe even a friend you're trying to help out, they'll appreciate that and they'll see that, because a lot of techs will just do their work and leave. So that's one of the things I really like to do, and making sure that you're doing a complete job. How happy are you that your refrigerator is working?
Oh, I can't count my blessings. Too many. Thank you,
Good.
Eric.